Hey everybody, Ryan with Ryan Industrial. Today's project is how to build a barn door out of reclaimed materials. This barn door in particular is going into my master bedroom. I have my bathroom and then my closet on the same wall, and they're only about 24 inches apart. And instead of having the two entry doors, I went ahead and took those off, and this barn door is going to actually, when you're in the restroom, you slide it over and you can shut the restroom door, and the closet would be open at that point, or slide it over and it'll cover up the closet area. Closet door usually stays shut all the time, bathroom door just as needed. So a dual purpose, and at the end of the video I'll show you how she turned out. I already built the door. It did require 4 pallets and 1 pallet as a 48 by 40 to get the upper section of the door here, and the lower section is only 36 inches, so you can use a 40-inch pallet. I do recommend run over to Harbor Freight and pick up their $20 Sawzall, and then get the extra long bimetal bit by Irwin. It's $3.18, and it just blasts right through the pallet, no problem, and leaves the nails in there too for you, so you get a little extra patina. There is some new material in this. These are just redwood pieces for building a fence. $1.44 a piece. If you don't have enough pallet wood, you can go ahead and build this whole door out of those pieces, and it'd probably still be less than $40 for all of it. Now this is all done with my brad nailer, 1 5/8 brads, and it went right through, and it didn't come through the end, and it worked out perfect. It's strong enough. I thought I was going to maybe have to use some screws or even frame it, but luckily these pallet pieces are nice and straight. It is 2 sections, so I did have to build 2 sections. As you can see, there's a seam in the middle here, and that's where this piece on the outside is decorative, but it serves a purpose as well. And I haven't sanded it yet, so I am going to go ahead and sand it. If it doesn't take away too much of the patina, then I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as is and just put some linseed oil on it. The other, I'll show you the back side here. On the back side, I used new 1x4s to brace the top piece here, also to cover up the seam, and then it also adds a little strength to it, and then one at the bottom. And when I go ahead and hang this, it gives it a little more support at the top when I hang the rollers. But this is what the back looks like. You can't have a handle because I'm worried that it might hit the molding, so I just went ahead and cut a piece of the redwood and put it on there, and that'll be the handle for the inside when you slide the door open to get out of the bathroom. And I got very lucky to have the pallet wood was nice and straight. Sometimes I've had troubles with doors where you go ahead and build it and it's just so warped that you almost have to build a complete frame and then just put the pallet wood on there as a siding. But fortunately in this circumstance it worked out. The door doesn't weigh too much. It's about 25-30 pounds, I'm guessing, which would be good weight for those top rollers to just sort of keep it nice and level, and have a little resistance when you open up, so it doesn't just slam open and everything. So I did not sand it yet, so I'll sand it here and get back at you. And then also in this video I'm going to include the railing system and the roller system I built and designed, and I'm going to build that, and I'll show you guys how to do that. It does require a welder and some metal knowledge, but you'll get the gist of how to do it, and maybe give you a little inspiration to look into further and maybe pick up another trade. So I'll go ahead and sand this, and we'll get right back at you. Well, here it is, all sanded down and washed down. It did lighten up a little bit, but you know what? I really like the color, and I'm not going to stain it. I'm just going to leave it as is. I'll add a little linseed oil to it. I think it looks really sharp, and this redwood really popped. And I sanded that down, so it's got a little added character. So almost buying that new piece really helped. And then here's the handle I purchased. It actually was the cheapest one that they had. It was only like $1.50, and it just matches perfect for the rustic look and the antiquing that we're doing. So what we'll do is, that's all finished. Now we got to jump onto the railing system, so I'll pull out my tools and we'll jump on that next. All right, we are on to step 2 of the build video, which is the railing system. I finally designed something, put on paper. I've cut everything out, so I have everything just lying out, parts kit if you want to say. I'll give you an example of what's going on here before I weld it and paint it. These are the wheels I went ahead with, and these are made for entry gates, like for your property. They actually are mounted on the bottom of your entry gate, and they're supposed to be used with angle iron. And here's what the wheel looks like when it's not inside its pocket there, and you can see it just fits perfectly. So this makes it a very simple system, easy to you know, no over engineering or fancy stuff. These are only 15 bucks a piece, so cost effective as well. I went ahead and made these out of some sheet metal, but you can go ahead and if you pick up some flat iron, this is 1 1/8, you can pick up 2 or 3 inch. I just had the sheet metal lying around, so I built these. These are going to be the actual hangers that are going to mount to the door, and then will mount to the actual roller, and the railing will fit right inside of here. And as for the railing, use regular 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 angle iron, and I went ahead and built out of that flat steel there these brackets. I'm gonna have to weld these to the actual rail, but these will be welded to the bottom. It'll be welded like that, and that allows the wheel to just easily slide by. It also gives you the distance between the wall and the door to make the clearance. And I went ahead and these are going to be mounted on the outside of the wall of the door. I want to see them, so I took the measurement, the thickness of the door here, as well as the trim piece, and used my tape measure, and I got 3.5 inches from center. So from this point to this point was 3.5 inches, would give me about a 3/8 of an inch to a 1/2 inch clearance from here to the actual door being shut. So with that, these brackets, how do you actually mount them to the wall? Well, these usual framing of a door, you're going to have the 2x4, usually one that will run on the outside here, and then one that runs on the inside. So go ahead and use a stud finder, locate where your 2x4 is, and for this single door, you're going to want a bracket here, and then as well as one on this side. Go ahead and take a pencil mark, measure that, whatever that distance is, and then at that point you will weld your brackets on center. So wherever that pencil point was, there's that, and then you obviously drill your mounting holes. I'm going to use these lag bolts that I had left over. I'm not sure if they're going to be long enough, so I might have to run up and pick up longer lag bolts, but I'm going to use these and make it decorative. As for a stop, I didn't know how to stop the door, if I should just weld something here or do whatever. I went ahead and came up with this idea. Here's just a piece of angle iron that I trimmed, and then I'm just going to go ahead and bolt it to the railing like that, and then it'll, when the railing comes out, it'll hit that and stop. And to quiet it down so you don't hear that every time, I'm going to go ahead and use a hot glue gun and just put a bead of hot glue on this, and then that'll make it quiet it up, make it a little bit of a bump stop. And so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and weld this all up. Go ahead and I'm going to sand it down, paint it black, and I'll go ahead and mount it in the house, put the door up, and then we'll come back at you and show you what the final looks like, and we'll go from there. So be right back. Alrighty, there is the final. Went ahead and painted the railing, welded it all up, used those lag bolts to actually mount the door, and then I went and purchased some lag bolts to lag it to the actual wall. And then here you can see I welded the railing on both sides here, and then here's my bump stop. The door shut is right there, so there's still plenty of room. It's just in case somebody pushes it a little too hard, it's not going to come off the railing. And I have one on each side like I showed you. So yeah, it worked out great. And the gap between the door and the railing here, I made just enough to clear the railing, but also not too much of a gap where this could possibly pop off the track. If you were to hit the door or bump it, it won't fall down and hurt yourself or anything like that. So that's a little safety thing that I put in there. And what I'll do is let me set my camcorder up on my dresser here, and I'll give you the full effect. So shut the restroom door. There's about an inch gap in between here, so it's not going to hit the molding, it's not going to hit the door. And at the bottom I also left a 1-inch gap. And then the third position this can be in is right here, so if you're getting ready to go to work or getting ready to go out and you need to go between the closet and the bathroom, you can still walk around the door and not have to continue to open and close. And then when you leave the room, you can just go ahead and shut it. And that's it. So nothing much to it, but I'm very happy the way it turned out. I think it's really cool. And I'm really happy that I spent the time to build this and install it. Altogether, I got about 15 hours. Probably 10 of that on the door, you know, tearing down the pallets and sanding it and all that kind of stuff, running to the hardware store. And then also the railing system, that took only about 3 hours, and then an hour or so to let the paint dry. But not that bad of a project. If you don't have the capability of building the railing system, they do have a lot of good kits online for about $150 to $250. And there were some really nice kits. They had different style casters, hangers, decorative, you know, all different types. So this is more of an industrial, rustic look that I went with, but it's what I had available, and also the cost. You know, it's only 15 bucks a wheel, which worked out beautifully. So that's it. So thanks for taking time to watch my video. Please like and subscribe. This is Ryan with Ryan Industrial. Peace.